Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here. Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to another episode of the Snowflake Viewpoint, episode 75, where we cover the latest news in the UK. The date and time is the 21st of October 2024 at 8 p.m. UK time. We are dual streaming live on youtube.com. Oh, YouTube, what? youtube.com/REGANELITE. And twitch.tv/ReganElite1. How are you guys doing? Hope you're all doing well. I thought I'd just do something a little bit different before I come to the chat. I have, for those who follow me on social media, across social media, they should know that I post a daily quote across all my social medias. So supposedly that nobody else uses any other social media besides YouTube. I can't post it on the community post as much as I want to because if I take a picture of it, it cuts the size of it on YouTube, which is kind of stupid on my phone. So today's one is for daily quote, for those who haven't seen it. The person who seeks all their applause from outside has their happiness in another's keeping. Make what you will of that quote, guys. Make what you will of that quote today. I'll try and get into the habit of doing that daily. Should I do that daily on live streams? Maybe I should do that for you guys. Maybe I should do that. That'd be a nice thing there for sure. Genie Ball, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Jow is here as well. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Mad Monk 33 is here. Good to see you, Mad Monk. Hope you're doing well. Alistair Keir is here as well. Good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Dave McGuinness, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Hope you have a good evening at work. David Gerardo is there as well. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Now, before we get started, I just want to address the elephant in the room, and that is regarding the gifting memberships. So YouTube have asked me for some receipts, basically, some dates and some receipts for them. So you don't have to do them if you don't want to, guys. But basically, I need I want to keep people. If you want to gift memberships, you can still. You still have the option to do so, if you want to. If you want, the best way to support me financially is obviously super chats, buy me a coffee, and Patreon, of course. But if you still want to give memberships, please feel free to do so. I will make a note of it from today's live stream, and I will make sure that I pass on the information to YouTube from today if anyone does choose to do so. It is entirely your discretion if you want to give memberships. But they have asked me for some evidence, basically some dates and apparently transaction IDs. I'm not sure how I can get them transaction IDs because I don't really control the transactions as well. So if anyone can help me out with that, that'd be greatly appreciated, obviously, today. Anyways, enough of the membership thing. It will get sorted. You know, YouTube did respond back again to me and said, like, if you can give us some dates and whatnot, we'll have a look into it for you, is what they've said now. So they seem to have changed their tune after my email. So it looks like that they've changed their tune on it because obviously they've understood that, hey, it's not a simple case of people not opting in. It's a case of it's actually not working. So I may actually record. I don't know if I may actually turn on the record for the live stream when it comes up on the chat here, potentially as well, just to use provided as evidence, but we'll see. Right, so I've got 6 stories for you guys here today. Quite a few of the story. I've got some, obviously, some of the stories I've covered for the next couple of days on for videos, and some of them will only be available on Patreon. I just need to record the Patreon ones, so on them as well. So starting with this one, guys, from The Guardian. I've got 2 from The Guardian here for you. So Angela Rayner has been given a permanent seat on the UK's National Security Council. So this exclusive reveals that rebooted Downing Street operation seeks to smooth over reports of tensions with the Deputy Prime Minister. So this is obviously, there's been a lot of talk and hearsay about the budget. There's been a lot of communication that people have been highlighting there. One second, guys. 1 second. I just need to... Oh, actually... just need to screenshot that. Oh, Alistair, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. It looked like they all registered. That's a good sign. Sorry for the pause in the live stream, guys. I just need... That's a good sign. So maybe it is working. Thank you for that, Alistair Keir. It looks like they've all gone through. Mad Monk got one. Joe Lefty got one. One Angry Pagan got one. Mellow Maggot got one. And Martin Brisk got one. It's working now. Yeah, yeah, we'll have to obviously keep an eye out on it, but that's a good sign. Thank you for that, Alistair Keir. I appreciate you testing it for me. Yeah, I'll have to keep an eye out for it. I've got an email address directly to someone anyway, so we'll see how the week goes. Okay, so we'll see how the week goes anyway. But thank you for the 5 gifting memberships. Yeah, it looks like they've all registered there. That's a good sign. Yeah, let's go back to the content. I do apologise for those who don't know anything what's going on, but that's fine. I've been having issues with the gifted memberships for anyone's wondering. Right, let's go back to it, guys. So this is obviously to kind of chime Anna Rayner, to keep her and her rebels, kind of keep them calm and keep them on board with what Rachel Reeves is going to be delivering in his budget, which is now 2 weeks away. I don't know about you guys, but you know, as we get closer to this budget, I'm starting to really have concerns, you know, about what they could be. I mean, they keep saying it's not an austerity. They keep saying that, but recent reports are obviously indicating that a huge chunk of money is going to go towards the National Healthcare Service, which I think is a good thing. This will obviously help them boost if it goes towards the NHS, and it obviously means that the NHS does perform better, helps reduce obviously reduces the waiting list and whatnot. That's all a good thing. One of the big elephants in the room with regards to the healthcare is obviously, which we'll talk about in the next piece, is obviously the why is this? Sorry guys, this thing's not working again. It's the chat. The chat keeps going on. Is the workers? Sorry, I keep losing my train of thought. Sorry guys, it's just this whole membership thing's just been putting me off, guys. So I do apologise. Ben Shaw, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. There's obviously the workers, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But is this? I mean, like, is this going to, like, Angela Rayner is already like Deputy Prime Minister, which doesn't really have too much of a role. She's now a housing minister, and now she's permanently on the UK's National Security Council. I'm like trying to think, like, is this something? Is this really like? Is this something that she generally wanted? Is this, you know? It obviously means more money in her purse, I suppose, on this. If true, obviously. What do you guys honestly think about this? Do you think this is like a term of bribery to keep her and some of those on her side that are happy? Is that what you think it is? So Angela Rayner has been given a permanent seat on the UK's government National Security Council as a rebooted Downing Street operation seeks to smooth over reports of tension between Keir Starmer and his deputy. Allies of the Deputy Prime Minister had shared concerns that she was being sidelined when it emerged 2 weeks ago that she had been given only a temporary place on the committee that brings together ministers with military and intelligence chief. However, The Guardian understands that she has been made a permanent member of the NSC, which discusses and assesses the biggest threats facing Britain. It's part of a concerted effort driven by the new number 10 Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney, to bolster her position. Starmer has also strengthened the quad of his most senior ministers to become a proper steering group of the government's agenda, insiders have said. As well as Rayner includes Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, and Pat McFadden, the senior cabinet office minister. In another move to shore up the Deputy Prime Minister, she will more formally and routinely deputise for Starmer. For example, be standing in at Prime Minister's questions this week, while he's away at Suella at Commonwealth Head of Government Summit. The Downing Street hopes the changes will reassure Deputy Prime Minister and her allies at the Labour Party and across the union movement that she has Starmer's full support after reports of continuing tensions between the pair. Number 10 source says Keir respects Angela and wants to make sure that she is recognised more widely in government. So it's deputy prime ministers this week. I might cancel PMQs then, live stream then if that's the case. I might not even cover. I might cancel that live stream if that's the case. Then if that is the case. Others downplay suggestions that Rayner and other cabinet ministers writing to Starmer to protest at cuts to the departments are set to be unveiled at next week's budget was anything other than part of the normal process. Second government source says nobody on either side wants any more drama. There's been long speculation among some of those around Starmer over his deputy's own motives, with suspicions that she could be on manoeuvres to be in a prime position to take over from him at some point in the future. I'm not sure about this. I feel like this story here, like I did not hear this stuff before the election. Before the election was called. I might have heard one story maybe about it. I feel like this is the so-called people on the right kind of just trying to stir up a hornet's nest within Labour. I'm not saying it's not possible. It is entirely possible, but it feels like this is more of a story like the Daily Mail has just been trying to drive a wedge between Angela Rayner and the rest of the Labour government. That's how I feel like it is. It's just been trying to drive a wedge in it because she's not from private establishment, private and all that kind of stuff. That's what it is, I think, because she's not been part of the whole building up process sort of thing. So it's been like that to me. That's what I generally think it is. Alistair Keir, thank you so much again for the 5 gifted memberships. It looks like it's gone through again. Interesting. Well, thank you, Alistair. Okay, we can assume that 5 gifted memberships are working. I'm not going to ask you to do any more. You don't have to do any more, my friend. Thank you for the 10 gifted memberships today. That's really helpful, considering I've had a drop in memberships the last couple of days. That's been a very nice boost. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate your support. I really do. He's given 5 gifted memberships to David Gerardo, Doc Davis, Jolly K, Matt Parker, and Toys Don't Get Tasered. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll obviously have to keep an eye on it. I do have a direct email, like I said, to YouTube to someone if I really need to contact them. Anyways, back to the story. So her allies said that the latest changes led by Number 10 itself after the promotion of McSweeney and should have been seen as an attempt to better manage the relationship between Starmer and one of its most powerful ministers. Officials said that while Sue Gray, McSweeney's predecessor as Chief of Staff, had always been supportive of Rayner personally in her role in principle, that did not always transfer into practice, with promises not always being delivered on. One described it as a mismatch, but suggested it may have been down to broader dysfunctions within Downing Street at the time. Earlier this month, it emerged that 7 permanent members had been chosen to attend the NSC meetings, including Starmer, Reeves, McFadden, and David Lammy, the Foreign Secretary. Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary, John Headley, the Defence Secretary, and Richard Hamer, the Attorney General, were also named as members. However, Rayner's absence from the listed fuel claims that she has been sidelined by Number 10 since Labour's general election victory. Previous Deputy Prime Ministers, most recently Conservative MP Oliver Dowden, has been permanent members of the NSC. It might just be that number, says Alistair Keir. Yeah, it might just be. We'll have to wait and see over time. But I appreciate the support nonetheless. I appreciate that. Thank you, Alistair Keir. Well, I know. I'm sorry, my train of thought has been off by by things on YouTube, guys. So I do apologise. I've had other things been going on as well. I do apologise for not having my thinking hat on this one. I think we'll just have to wait and see if this is going to keep things smooth. Like there has been, these first 100 days of Labour have not been great. There have been some good things, some good policies that they have introduced, but obviously the winter fuel payment has obviously been bad. Still at the moment, we don't know whether or not the two-child benefit cap is going to be remaining after the budget, because I'm holding my breath on that until after the budget before I really lay into Labour if nothing is said there. But the nationalisation of the rail industry is obviously a good sign. The national wealth fund. I know people are pointing out that GB Energy is not completely state owned. I'm fully aware of that. But obviously, if it's something that I don't know, makes a difference to energy, that makes us more energy efficient, then I'm all for it. But you know, the idea of the carbon capture project was a big downer as well. Like 22 billion pounds they just magically found out behind the back of the couch, but they can't seem to find it for, you know, for other things. It raises alarm bells there as well. Joel DK, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. And Ben Shaw, if I didn't say hello earlier. We'll have to wait and see more on whether this will keep people more in line, shall we say. I do think, yeah, that over time we will really start to see just how strong this relationship is between Angela Rayner and Keir Starmer. I mean, they have been deputy and PM since they've been in these positions for a long time, the two of them. So there is a strong relationship there, because you don't have that relationship that's been going on for such a long period in opposition, and now they have it in government. There is going to be a test there. And I think even both of them knew that there were going to be tests, that's for sure. Martin Briss, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. So time will tell whether to see how long, if this relationship lasts, or in fact maybe the right wingers are right and Angela Rayner's looking to stab him in the back potentially. We'll have to see, guys, on that one. Going into the next one. So I've done a video about So I've got a video coming out in the next day or two for members. That'll be out in the next day or two, but it's available already for members about the NHS. But in particular, it's about the NHS app and how they plan to allow the data to people to see their medical records on it. I didn't catch all of the 2 Davies today, so I do apologise. For not seeing it in full. But I did get the bit about, obviously, how private companies obviously want to get their hands on our medical records if they haven't already here in England and Wales. And I'm totally agree with what David McGuinness was saying about how much of a threat that is. And it's going to be the dangers to that, and absolutely here. And cross fingers it doesn't reach Scotland. But in particular here, obviously, that is a cause for concern. So the headline here is NHS delay means death sentence for some patients, says Wes Streeting. The Health Secretary spoke alongside Keir Starmer, who stressed the need for AI diagnosis to get in earlier with cancer. Now, I do believe that there is going to be a really good push in terms of AI and technology within healthcare, but that still is not going to fix the issues that we have straight away. Oh, Dave McGuinness, thank you so much for the £5 super chat, my friend. I really appreciate it. Starmer never wanted Rayner. She is a party appointment, and he can't get short of her. Interesting. Thanks for that. Is it because it's because she speaks on behalf of the majority of the party members, I'm supposing, and has to keep them happy, I suppose. I appreciate the £5 super chat. Yeah. Yeah, because she does speak for the unions. She speaks for a lot of individuals there. Yeah, that's an interesting point you do make on that. We'll obviously have to see how things go. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, at the moment, Labour can kind of do whatever they want because they've still got 400 plus MPs. So, but it may slowly start dwindling as local elections come along. I mean, ideally, I would not like it to go to back to the Conservatives or even Reform. I'd like it to go to the Greens or Lib Dems personally. But, oh God, sorry, I'm getting reflux, guys. I'm totally off today. Hopefully tomorrow's live stream I'll be a bit more on the good ball here. But just sort of back on the National Healthcare Service here. I mean, it's a lot of talk, a lot of rhetoric, what they were saying here, like, you know, getting the NHS back on its feet, all this kind of stuff. It's going to take time. And regardless of whether we believe or not believe that Labour will get the NHS fixed, one thing is for certain, it will take time to see the change, if the change is coming. If we are going to see a reduction in the backlogs, if we are going to see better healthcare for people. Now, there was obviously talk about healthcare hubs that they were looking to introduce, like local healthcare hubs sort of thing. Now, I did see the video from Robespierre, who he put out just a few hours ago, actually, with regards to this. He made a great point about how he made this point about how obviously the workers, which is how you're going to fix the account of the workers, because obviously we used to rely on the EU workers, we don't have the EU workers. Well, my thought would have been, well, I suppose if we don't have enough workers here, we're just going to be getting more non-EU workers coming. Well, that's going to come at a cost, isn't it? Everything comes at a cost. So are we going to pay visas for? Are we going to reduce the visa scheme? Are we going to make it easier for them? There's going to be a lot of questions there, because the reality is that these kind of healthcare hub ideas that they have, you got to have the workers for them. And we only have so many doctors, we only have so many nurses, we only have certain specialists in certain sectors that we need for the healthcare system. We used to rely on a lot of EU doctors and nurses and specialists in certain departments. We don't have them now. So we obviously have a worker crisis that we need to resolve. So is it possible that the Labour government could make the scheme easier for EU doctors and nurses to come to the UK? Could they incentivize potentially some of them? I think there is a very possibility that the Labour could do that. Now, it will incur the wrath of the right wingers and all that, but they can fuck off for all we care, because at the end of the day, I want people to get better. I don't want people who are generally sick or generally unwell, those who need those treatments. I want to make sure they get those treatments. That's really, really important. If it means that Labour have to bend some corners and cut corners or whatnot to bring in some doctors and specialists and whatnot to help plug the gaps that we need in the National Healthcare Service, to reduce these backlogs, to get people back to work, basically, essentially, because we do want people back to work as much as we possibly can. Good morning, Steve McMahon. Then I'm all for it. But are they willing to do that? That is the question. At the moment, I don't think they are. But they could change their tune on it. It's entirely possible that they could change their tune on that. But artificial intelligence and technology will only get them so far. People still need, every now and then, they still need to have that treatment. They still need to have that one-to-ones. It still matters to people. You can't do everything through an app. You can't do everything online. It can help mitigate and minimize some things with regards to healthcare, but it can't be the be-all to end-all, if you know what I mean, as well, guys. So some NHS patients have received a death sentence. Well, some NHS patients have received a death sentence due to delays within the health service, Wes Streeting has said, as Keir Starmer stressed the need for more use of AI and technology. AI and technology is not... It's almost implying here that without artificial intelligence and technology, people will die. I don't accept that premise. I don't accept that premise as of right now. I think it will help, but will it prevent death? I think that's pushing it a bit far, if I'm honest. The Health Secretary is speaking alongside the Prime Minister at the launch of what he described the biggest national conversation about the future of the NHS since it was founded 76 years ago. While Keir Starmer tried to make an optimistic tone, alluding to the benefits and appointments that could arise from a public conversation, Streeting warned the NHS is in such a poor state, I'm amazed that we're still not using carrier pigeons. And he's just taking the mick there. Streeting said the NHS is going through what is objectively the worst crisis in history, whether it's getting people struggling to get to their GPs, dialing 999 to an ambulance, not arriving on time, towing up to A&E departments and waiting too long, sometimes on choices in corridors, or going through the ordeals of not knowing whether you're waiting for a diagnosis that could be the difference between life and death. While still receiving a prognosis that the amount of death to a death sentence that could have been avoided because the NHS didn't reach you in time. This is, I'm afraid, the daily reality of the NHS today. Yes, we know about that. But it's about how we're going to fix it. I still don't think Labour are fully clear about what they're going to do. Like, they've got some ideas, but I don't think they're fully clear. But they have said, though, as well, that they have been trying to take ideas. They're trying to be listening to patients and doctors within the NHS. That's what they're claiming. They're taking ideas from them, as well as they're having their own, apparently, to try and help. But now, if that's true, that's great. But it's whether or not they are or not. Bernie Burrows, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Any health centre hubs? Yeah, I don't think they've set up any at the moment. I could be wrong on that. Good evening, my name is Pagan. Hope you're doing well. So Streeting said he hopes a reformed NHS app would help streamline the health service. It will be easier as joyful to use as Netflix. He championed plans to digitalize the health service to help improve the patient experience, but soon to allow them to access any NHS service at the touch of a button and not the end of a telephone. Streeting told reporters in East London, I think people in our country are angry that interacting with their public service is not as easy, accessible and as joyful as any number of other applications that we have in the palm of our hand. We've got more subscribed to the NHS app, for example, than Netflix, so we're using the NHS app should be easy and even as joyful as using Netflix. I would not describe using the National Healthcare Service app as joyful. I don't think that's the right word to describe it. And unless we embrace the technology revolution, we will continue to have a public sector that is creaking and lagging far behind than any other service in our lives because it hasn't kept up with the times. Meanwhile, Starmer cited the benefits of using artificial intelligence as he highlighted his ambition to transform the NHS and indicated his plans to reimagine the NHS when it comes to cancer technology. Speaking to The Guardian, the Prime Minister said Labour governments traditionally would pick up the NHS after Tory governments gave it more money to get it back on its feet. The ambition here is not just to sort of run the health service better. It has been run in the last 14 years, so it is to transform it. If you look at the challenges in 1948, in the 40s, in that period when the NHS was set up, they were very different to the challenges now. So even without this funding challenge, you'll be wanting to reimagine the NHS when it comes to cancer. I just, like, you can't compare the challenges that the healthcare was in 1948 to now. That's I just don't think it's a fair comparison. Like, we're talking about coming out of, well, like, our economy was in tatters. You know, we just come off the back of a global war. We didn't have a functioning healthcare system. It's trying to make that analogy. I think it's just it's just unnecessary, if I'm honest. This is where AI is going to be really important for us because already if you have the radiologist working with AI doing the scanning, the chances of getting cancer diagnosis more accurately and getting it done more early will go up dramatically. So this allows us to get in early with cancer. Now, new laws are set to be introduced on Wednesday with the aim to speed up patient care, minimize medication errors and reduce repeated medical tests. There was something as well in one of the pieces that he was looking at, perhaps charging people for missing appointments potentially as an option there from there as well. I'm not too keen on that, if I'm honest. That is for sure. Where is this health service app supposed to come from? The UK doesn't even have a digitalized population registry. You simply type onto your app, whether it's on Android or iPhone, you simply type in NHS and it comes up and you can download it. That's how easy it is. But I think it needs. Like, I have downloaded it and looked at it once, and I didn't find it very. I guess because I'm quite healthy, it's not really something that I'm keen on. But maybe I'll download it again and have a look about with it. But I do think that is something of importance. It's that's so easy to be broken into, and also means access to third party companies like life insurance, etc. Says Alistair Keir. Yeah, that's what I mentioned in my video as well. I mentioned that in my video about the app. They are living in the past, and this still is the UK, not post-war UK. Yeah, I don't like. Yeah, the thing about that speech is what I didn't like is that trying to bring up those analogies, and it's like, don't get me wrong. Like the staff are relieved, and I would say this: the NHS workers are much relieved that they actually have a Labour government than the Conservative one, because the Conservative one just didn't give a damn about them. At least they're getting they will get better pay from this Labour lot. What I just don't like is the continuation of privatisation and the involvement of more privatisation, because they've been taking money from private health companies. We know they've been taking money from private health companies because we've seen the records of them taking money from private health companies. Open Democracy have covered it extensively on there as well. So we know that there is influence there. We know that there's influence there. And they can untangle that. A lot of money, a lot of taxpayer money is wasted that goes straight into the NHS. And rather than goes into the NHS, it goes straight into the private healthcare sectors. And we need to untangle that. It's a big problem. Good evening, number 3. Hope you're doing well. Unless designed properly from the start, it'll just become an American-style tool for insurance companies. Yeah, and that's the fear. That's the fear. It's going to be going down the insurance route. That we're going to be Americanized, as I like to call it. I'm very concerned about that. The Americanized version of and the British public need to be ready to reject that outright. That is for sure. So the next one I got for you guys is obviously surrounding the budget. It's exclusive from the Eye. So up to 1.5 million more pensioners may pay higher tax if Reeves freezes the thresholds. So state pensions rise by at least 2.5% every year. Frozen personnel allowance thresholds may see retirees dragged into higher tax bands. Now, taxes obviously it's not my specialty, you guys, as you guys know. But it's more on their website rather than the YouTube channel, Alistair Keir. But yeah, they do have a YouTube channel, Open Democracy, if you do want to subscribe to that as well. Alistair's provided a link in the description. Yeah, I know that that they want to less reliance on state pension than people to more reliant on private pensions going forward. I can see them making it more and more harder for state pensions. I don't like the fact that you can't get your state pension to get such an old age now. It's just, I hate it. I hate it to bits, guys. I really do. You know, I'm somebody who generally would not like. I don't want to work in my 60s in any way, shape, or form. I think anyone who has to work, unless they want to work in their 60s, I don't like this idea that people have to work into their 60s before they get their state pension. I think it's absolutely abhorrent. In any way, shape, or form. But this is generally. I'll let you guys comment too much more on when it comes to taxes and whatnot. So Rachel Reeves' plans to freeze income tax thresholds in the budget could result in up to 1.5 million more pensioners being dragged into paying higher tax, the Eye can reveal. So the Chancellor is set to freeze income tax thresholds again in the budget on October the 30th in a move which would raise billions of pounds for the Treasury and leave millions of people paying more tax. Among them could be as many as 1.5 million pensioners, according to the calculations by wealth management company Quitter for the Eye. We don't know that for sure. Take it with a pinch of salt, guys. We don't know that for sure. But freezing income tax thresholds, we know that there's going to be taxes rises coming from somewhere. I think capital gains tax was one of them, definitely. That looks like it's going to be coming as well. Charities for older people said it would see many pensioners who are already trying to stretch their low incomes now pulled into paying income tax. The thresholds at which people are paying the basic higher additional rate of tax have been frozen since 2021 and are not due to start rising with inflation again each year until 2028. Reeves is expected to announce that this deadline will be pushed back by 1 or 2 years, raising billions of pounds as taxpayers are pushed into more puncher tax bands as their salaries raise in line with inflation. John Greer, head of retirement planning at Quintilia, told Eye if Labour decides to keep income tax threshold frozen until 2030, it could potentially drag 1.15 million extra pensioners into higher or additional rate tax brackets. It is a move that would boost government coffers by stealth while allowing Labour to maintain that it has not increased their headline rate of income tax. So essentially dodging what they're saying, what they're saying, we're not actually raising taxes, we're just keeping them still. Is what they could potentially saying here. The Eye reported on Friday that freezing the personal allowance, the income level at which people start to pay tax, would mean by the end of the decade, retirees living on state pension will face a tax bill of at least £130. According to a Freedom of Information request by Quintilia in August, 3.1 million pensioners, all 1 in 5, are already set to be dragged into paying higher or additional rate tax by 2027-2028 tax year because of existing threshold freezes. Pensioners wholly reliant on the state pension would pay ever more tax if thresholds are frozen again, because the triple lock means that pensioners are guaranteed to increase by a minimum of 2.5% each year. Charities representing older people told the Eye it would be a mistake to continue with the threshold freeze, particularly after Labour's decision to means test winter fuel payments. Yeah, that's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw this headline. Good to see you, Simon. Says 55. Yeah, don't worry, you're good, buddy. That's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw this. Like, a double whammy on pensioners. Like, oh, well, you don't have those voters already. Let's milk them a bit more for money. That's the first thing that comes to my mind a little bit when I think about this. Because a lot of them are conservative and reform voters, aren't they? But like I've said before in the past, like some of them are still Labour voters all their lives as well. Caroline Abrahams, charity director at Age UK, said it would be disappointing if the Chancellor decides to raise personal allowance for income tax at the budget, since this would take us closer to a situation in which pensioners whose only income is their state pension become liable to pay this tax. It makes no sense for the state to give older people money with one hand while taking it away with the other. But that's where we are heading as things stand. We don't know that for sure, guys. What's more, the value of the state pension is modest, particularly in compared to other similar countries. And older people who depend on it as their sole source of income cannot afford any deductions if they're to live decently. Morgan Vice Director of Policy and Influencing at Independent Age said it is essential that the UK government uses this upcoming budget to put forward positive measures to tackle poverty in all ages, including those living on low incomes in older age. Independent Age, more and more older people are contracting our advice line, telling us that they just don't have enough money to live on, yet they are just above the means test threshold to qualify for financial support. What this looks like in reality is many older people living on less than £13,000 a year, trying to stretch their low incomes to cover the ever-increasing bills, including water, energy, council tax, and rent. Yeah, the government needs to have answers here for all these increasing bills. Energy bill, water bills, council tax. They need to have answers for them. They need to if not reduce them, at least freeze them. They need to freeze these, because especially, I think out of all of them, the water one is the one that triggers me the most. I just saw that apparently some of them got bonuses, some of the water company bosses. I saw a report today, which absolutely infuriates me, considering that some Thames Water are looking like going bust, and yet they're still dishing out bonuses. I'm like, what's all that about, you know? Yeah, try explain that to me, guys. Excuse me. I'm getting so those who are wondering, I'm getting a bit of reflux, so in case people are asking. People in this group will be the same ones who could be pulled into paying income tax if the threshold remains frozen, alongside losing the winter fuel payments if the UK government plans to means test it goes ahead. She added, before making decisions which could reduce the income of people facing financial hardship in their life, it is essential that the UK government ensures that everyone living on a low income gets the money that they are entitled to. Asked about the policy on Sky News on Sunday, the Health Secretary Wes Streeting said, "I'm not going to speculate on what the Chancellor might or might not do in the budget." He added, "This country is paying a heavy price for the Conservative failure, blah, 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 blah. Blame the Conservatives, fix the foundations, blah, 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 blah." Daisy Cooper, the Liberal Democrat Treasury spokesperson, told the Eye the burden of cleaning up the Conservative mess should be borne in the big banks, the big oil and the gas companies and the tech giants. So we're deeply concerned at the rumour that the government might instead look at first the struggling failures who might be dragging into their higher tax band. Daisy is absolutely right here. Why are we even looking at punishing people? Why are we not looking at those who have all the money? Why are we not taking something from them? It couldn't be more clearer there. I really hope it's not the case. Hard-working families and pensioners should not have to pay even more than they have after years of Conservative Party economic vandalism, she says. And she's absolutely right. It feels like it does come across like this could be a double whammy for pensioners, which is incredibly brutal if that is the case, guys. It will be incredibly brutal for them. And like I get this premise that they need to find money, or they claim that they need to find money. But we know where the money is. We all know where the money is. The rich, the wealthy, the big tech companies, the oil and gas companies, they all hold the money. They literally have all the money on their table. And if we just take a little bit of tax, just tax all some of these companies or tax some of the wealthy, just a little bit, we can increase the coffers by a great deal of amount. But apparently, no, that's not something they want to do. Oh, sure, it's good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. I did see your live stream, but I just hadn't had a chance to pop on there, mate. I do apologise. Hope you had a good live stream, buddy. I don't know when you permanently live stream, so I don't know whenever to catch you. That's the problem. Ask this question again. What are the subsidies in the EU gave the UK from the common pot to renew sewage and water treatment structures, and that the UK taxpayer is repaying the EU ? Yeah. But I am just asking questions, says Joe. Yeah, you're just asking questions, just like Nigel Farage. He's just asking questions too. The sewage problem can be fixed. It's just chemicals. So there's no excuses now than there ever was before. Yeah, but they want to keep dumping it because it's cheaper for them, number 3. That's the problem. But yeah, they need to be harsher on the water companies, that's for sure. Company not providing the service is contracted for, shouldn't be in a position to pay bonuses, just saying, says Joe DK. Yep, absolutely. I have some winning lottery numbers. Just give me 10% in due course, says number 3. Joe Lefty's become a member for 9 months. Thank you so much for your support, Joe Lefty. Appreciate it. My priority is not likely to be addressed at the budget, and yet likely one of the most important, building up infrastructure and preparing for the repercussions of the sea level rises and climate change, says one angry pagan. Tell the water companies their bonus is down the drain. Well, unfortunately, it's not. They're just taking it. Yeah, that was Alistair Keir who gave you the gift earlier, Joe Lefty. And one angry pagan as well. Been a member for 7 months as well. The government go tax the rich, and then they risk them leaving the country, taking the money with them, says Artibus. Good to see you, Artibus. Hope you're doing well. I would not take that threat seriously. Like, you may find some, there may be 1 or 2 who may actually do it, but the chance of them actually leaving is very unlikely. It's a scare tactic. I generally believe that it's a scare tactic, if I'm honest. They keep, many of them saying, "Oh, I'm leaving," and then they end up don't even leaving at all. So I would take it slightly with a pinch of salt. I would. So guys, I'm going to take a little break here. Got 3 more articles to cover here on the Snowflake Viewpoint. I hope you guys enjoyed this classic one here. It's an old one here I've got for you guys here. And then I've got a really a very good funny one at the end of the show, guys. I know you guys will look forward to as well. So this is an old one from Colin in Portsmouth. It's Colin from Portsmouth versus Femi, the importance of journalistic balance. Some of you guys may remember this one. I hope you guys enjoy this classic one here.
Has this government mishandled the COVID pandemic? Femi Olawale has researched this topic meticulously, and he presents a body of evidence. He's joined by Colin from Portsmouth, who hasn't thought too much about it, but whom we've invited on the show for a sense of journalistic balance. Femi, I'll come to you shortly, but let's hear from Colin first, as it's a little more positive. Colin.
I don't think they have mishandled it, no.
Femi.
Well, I mean, where do I even start? First of all, theoretically...
Thank you, Femi. Colin.
But I haven't even started yet.
Well, Femi, I'm trying to give you and Colin the exact same number of words so that it's a fair debate.
But I haven't said anything.
Well, you have. So far, you've uttered 10 more words than Colin, including the phrase, "I've not said anything." So, Colin, would you like to add anything more to your answer?
I just think they've done a good job.
OK, you've got 3 words left. I'll let you finish.
This isn't how debates work.
8 words now, Colin.
No, good job, end of, yeah.
OK, any more words, Colin?
Oh, right, canoe, 3D printer, barbecue. Yeah, oh, hold on, is barbecue 3 words or 1?
I don't know, I've never been sure on that one. Depends on the spelling. OK, well, you've actually got 1 more word anyway, because Femi just said I.
What is happening?
OK, and that is the end of the debate. Well, it's quite clear who's won this, and impressively so, with 2 words to spare. Femi, I've got to admit, I was a little bit disappointed with your performance, considering your expertise.
I beat you, mate. Cheers, Femi, thanks for that, enjoyed that. See you on question time, mate, yeah? See you later, Andy.
Cheers, yeah, love to the family.
I wonder if we probably still get them around here, don't we? Still size, but a classic one there, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that classic one. So coming back to the budget, this one here from Sky News. Marcus look grand without the hat. I miss my ginger, says David. Billy Kershaw, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Guys, while you're here, if you haven't, make sure you hit the like button and share across social media so others are notified. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. I'd like to get to 2,000 subscribers before the end of the year, if that's possible. So if you're not subscribed already, please help me get that over that line. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. If you have, I really do appreciate it. So this one from Sky News. The Minister refused to rule out tax rises for people earning more than £100,000. Stephen Kinnock could not answer 9 times if the government will impose taxes on those earning more than £100,000. Well, he's not. It's more on the budget. Like, here's the thing, like, he can't say definitively yes or no on things because we have to wait for the budget. Like, the media are so impatient on this. People just need to be a little bit patient. And now, obviously, as we just said earlier about, we want to make sure the rich get taxed. And I think people earning more than £100,000. I mean, personally, I want it to be the most wealthy, the more wealthiest, the millionaires and billionaires, if I'm honest. But I don't think people earning more than £100,000, will it hurt them if they get a bit of tax? I don't think it will hurt them. Some people will some people may vigorously disagree with me. But that kind of money going into, I don't think it's the end of the world. But it depends on every single person's case. I mean, I wouldn't mind £100,000. Just me personally. And he's right not to rule it out as well. So Stephen Kinnock dodged the question 9 times when Sky News Kate Bailey asked whether people who earn more than £100,000 a year are working people under Labour's definition. Labour's manifesto pledges not to raise national insurance, VAT or income tax for working people. However, the party has revealed that its exact definition of working people raised concerns that it is likely that it's getting ready to hike up taxes for certain groups at the budget on October the 30th, including those who earn more than £100,000. At present, people who earn between £50,271 and £125,140 pay 40% tax on their income, and who earn more than that pay 45%. People who earn more than £100,000 also currently have smaller personal allowances. Health Secretary Wes Streeting spoke on Sunday, warned that high earners should not expect help at the budget, suggesting you focus on people who are on the lower and middle incomes. Pressed on that today, Health Minister Mr. Kinnock said he would not speculate, adding that the Chancellor will set this out on the 30th of October. He insists his government will not be breaking any of those manifesto commitments. No, but I can see slight tweaking around some of the manifestos to kind of get around the curves of sort of things. To say, no, we haven't broken it. We've just... if you read what we definitively said, we didn't say we were doing this, but we are doing something similar, but we're not doing this specifically. It's going to be that. It's going to be kind of the wording sort of thing on some of it. Definition of working people, he said, to be seen in the round is what's going to be put on the table on the 30th of October. He added that Chancellor Rachel Reeves will make a definitive definition of working people absolutely clear during the budget announcement. I'm going to take that with a big pinch of salt on that. So Keir Starmer, spokesperson who asked if somebody earning 6 figures is a working person, also dodged the question and referred back to Mr. Kinnock's comments. Yeah, of course they're not going to answer it. Mr. Reeves has been saying for months that the budget will be tough, and that was recently revealed that she almost aiming to fill a £40 billion black hole, much larger than the £22 billion that Labour said the Tories left them with. I'm so sick of this black hole nonsense. On Sunday, Mr. Streeting refused to rule out freezing tax thresholds, which will see more people dragged into higher tax bands. The row of Labour's definition of working people has ramped up over the past few weeks as it emerged. Mr. Reeves is expected to raise national insurance for employers. Yeah, again, it's just like kind of just like weaseling through loopholes so that they don't break their manifesto. That's kind of how it feels right now. Labour claimed that this will not be breaking their manifesto as they only promised not to raise taxes for working people. During the election campaign in June, Sir Keir Starmer said working people are those who are working but do not have meaningful savings. Mr. Reeves said they are people who go out to work, leaving voters none the wiser. She's expected to increase capital gains tax paid on the sale of shares and other assets to 33% or above, but not as high as 39%. The current rate for higher earners ranges from 20% to 28%, depending on the type of asset. An increase will be seen as a wealth tax, as only about 350,000 people a year pay capital gains tax, as they contribute £15 billion in tax receipts, according to the Institute for Physical Studies. Mrs. Reeves is also expected to cut some relief in the inheritance tax system and could keep council tax increases at 5% a year. Motoring organisations raised concerns that Labour will increase fuel duty for the first time in 14 years by not continuing the 5p cut. I might upset a few people here. I think they should increase fuel duty. They need to say, and they need to start pushing the incentive of more of, hey, you need to get off fuel and start going electric on that. But I can also understand, many people, understandably so, are not ready to turn electric as well. But we do need to move away from oil and gas. That is for sure on that. With regards to that, I just see some of what you guys saying in the comments. Taxes were going to half to be raised. Anyway, I find it funny that so many were acting surprised as winning pagan. Yeah, everyone was saying before the election, during the run-up to election, that whoever was going to be in government were going to have to raise taxes either way. The palaces here earn the state millions each year, turn them into museums, and no kings to support them, says João. That's in Portugal. Get rid of the monarchy, that would save a fortune, said Bernie Burrows. Yep, getting rid of the monarchy would save us a lot of money. I imagine that somebody saw a certain Australian shouting at the king today, or was it yesterday? Rich people need to pay more taxes since they are richer, says João. Putting it quite clearly there. Comedy is extending reality into exaggeration and showing the stupid part of focus. Too much craziness to joke about, says Genie Bottle. If he fails to say no 9 times, the answer is more likely, wait for the freaking budget. Yeah, this is the problem. The media are very impatient because we're getting so close to it, and they're looking for any and all details, and they're keeping quite quiet about it, to be fair. And the UK Parliament in one word. Yeah, that's for sure. Cannot afford electric cars regularly. That's why they need to give incentives to people they need to incentivize people for electric cars. They need to offer. Don't they have I'm sure didn't the previous Conservative government have a scheme to encourage people for electric cars? I'm sure there was some kind of scheme that they had to try and encourage people to turn electric. If not, then Labour needs to introduce something like that. Because if you want to get people off petrol and onto electric, you need to incentivize people to do so. We need more infrastructure for electric vehicles first. That's true. We do need them. One of the things, chargers are definitely a problem. We need more chargers to spot. I said they should be mandatory at all petrol stations at least. That would be a start. And all car chargers have to be the same. Like whatever car make, they should all be the same one as well. Make all the donations to political parties taxable. Yeah. I would tax them by 99.9% Artibus. So that way they have no political influence. They can say, you can give your gift, but you have to give 99% of that tax here to the taxpayer. Yeah, I know, it's a bit cruel. I hate hearing Streeting saying we're hitting the ground running. Yeah, he needs to stop saying that. Like, hitting the ground running. Well, we'll see now. We'll see. I'm tired of waiting incentives, not picking up my new EV. I got tired of waiting incentives, picking up my new EV in a couple of days, says Jodie. Let us know how it goes. Hopefully it does well for you. Yep, we found lots of repossession of cars. Ban political parties, says political party donations. I'm pretty sure that's what number 3 meant there. Okay, let's move away from the budget, you guys. This next story is away from the budget. I should say yes to this. I should be in favour of this, really, shouldn't I? So, English smacking ban is being considered by the government. So, I have to say on this. Hi, Maria. Hope you're doing well there on the Twitch chat. So, smacking a child, I do think that. Now, first and foremost, have I ever been smacked by my parents? No, I have not. I've not been smacked. Now I don't know how many of you have, but there is a kind of a two-sider to this ban. So the first thing that comes to my mind is that you're protecting the child. It can have a detrimental effect, especially if they're bad parents who are abusing their child, going too far, and it can cause harm to them. And that makes all the sense in the world. Now, is there a part of this in any way, shape, or form that smacking actually makes children more discipline? I guess that's the question. Are we being soft as a society by not punishing kids when telling them off and putting them in the corner and whatnot? Are we being soft? I think is the question that I've been asking myself when I saw this story. Like, are we getting soft as a society by not wanting to because I feel like we're taking away something that is considered discipline. But at the same time, I know that it's wrong to smack a child. I know it is. I'm very torn on this, but I can also understand what if many people in the chat think that it's right that it should be banned as well. So let me read a bit into it. So, government ministers are considering a smacking ban for England. The Department of Education has confirmed. Smacking bans have already been brought in devolved governments, but Scotland, Wales and Jersey outlawing use of physical violence to punish children. So plans for similar laws in England were rejected by the previous Conservative government as recently as last year. But Labour ministers are now looking carefully at whether more can be done on the issue. The move comes following fresh calls for the bans by the Children's Commissioner for England, Dan Ruskell-Dalsauer, after the death of a 10-year-old Sarah Shalif. A court heard Sarah was hooded, burned and beaten over a 2-year period as her father, stepmother and uncle stand for murder and trial in which they deny. Dan Ruskell said a ban on any type of corporal punishment, including smacking, hitting, slapping and shaking, could stop lower levels of violence from escalating. Don't get me wrong, I'm not like this story. Like, is that really true? Could it really stop? I'm very uncomfortable about this idea, guys. If we're serious about keeping every child safe, it's time England takes the necessary steps. She posted on X. Are we not, like, this is the thing that comes to my mind is I feel like we're making children softer. I really do think we're making children softer by this. I really do. This is to protect the abusive relationships from parents. Yeah, but you're punishing all parents, Alistair Keir. This is my argument. You're punishing good parents. Yes, there are abusive parents out there. Don't get me wrong, but there are good parents who do it, and it does actually help some children. I totally understand this story. But there are cases where it can be good for a child. There are cases that they can be good for a child as well. So I'm very, very torn on this because I feel like that a couple of cases, that a couple of bad cases by bad parents are being used as a means to ban all parents from being able to punish their children. And I just think it's going to make children softer and less disciplined as they grow up. That's where I sit on this, guys. That's where I generally sit on this. In England and Northern Ireland, it is legal for a carer or a parent to discipline their child physically if it is a reasonable punishment, but the Children's Act 2004 make it illegal to assault a child causing actual or grievous bodily harm. Dame Rachel said the experience of Scotland and Wales was taught us that we need to take that step in England too, and it's now time to go further. We're talking about abusive parents here. We're talking about abusive parents, and like, here's the thing, right? This is how I see this, guys. Okay, this is how I can see this. Yeah, I see some parents out there who are generally good parents who do this because they generally have a bad child. Okay, and they do it because they actually have to do this because their child is just out of control. Like, they do all the non-violent things. The non-physical things, right? What are they supposed to do in these situations? And it actually helps make a difference to that child. And then someone catches it on camera or whatever in their house or whatever. Then the police are called and the parents are charged or whatnot for doing it. when in actual fact it's supposed to help the child. That's where I think that's where I see it. I totally understand the abusive parent side of this, totally 100%. But there's a lot of parents who will only do this as a last resort. Like if there's parents who are consistently beating their child, then absolutely it's wrong. It doesn't feel right with me. Liberty Twitcher says most experts agree that children are far less resilient now than they used to be, especially boys. Yeah, I just think it's going to make children. I just think it's going to make people softies. I think it's going to make people softies. I don't agree with this. I think there needs. Yeah, I'm very much. 2 smacks is enough, maybe 4 max. Yeah, I don't think you can put in a law that says you can only smack them 4 times or something like that, Alistair Kidd. That's the thing. I don't think you can do it like that. If smacking needs to be banned, then valid alternatives need to be provided. That's a great point, number 3. That is a fantastic point. If you're gonna ban it, you need to give some kind of alternative, for them. Artbus said, I got smacked once. I learnt my lessons and knew the consequences if I were to do wrong again. So kids have to man up. How kids are supposed to man up if they're going to be out of control and parents can't discipline them? They can't discipline them on this. If this comes through. That's the thing. I think my general position is I think we're getting soft. I really do think we're getting soft with this. But like I said, I totally get the abusive parents. I really understand that. I really do. But I just think we're being soft. We're being soft here. The NSPCC and Barna have long called for an English smacking ban, and 2/3 of English people polled by YouGov in March next year said physical disciplining a child is not acceptable. The previous government argued parents should be trusted to discipline their children. This is exactly the here. Parents should be trusted. Parents should be trusted to discipline their children. It should be down to the parents to do that. Now, yes, there are always going to be abusive parents. There's absolutely no question about that. But should all parents be losing their right to discipline their child because of some bad apples in society? No, I don't think they should. However, the Department of Education spokesperson told the BBC that that stance has changed. Any form of violence towards a child is completely unacceptable. We are looking closely at the legal changes made in Scotland and Wales as we consider whether there are ways we can do it in this area, they said. We are already supporting teachers, social workers, and all safeguarding professionals to spot the signs of abuse and negligence more quickly, including with a mandatory framework for safeguarding children. I understand about parents abusing their child. I really do, guys. I want to stress that. And it's very important that we protect children. And I don't want children getting abused. But you're taking away discipline from children. Because what are the alternatives? This is my question. Those in Wales and Scotland, who can't smack their child, what do you do as an alternative if you're not allowed to smack them? What's your alternative? What's your alternative? What, you're going to stick them in the corner? Is that going to actually teach them? Is that going to discipline them? I'm very torn on the fence on that one. Mind you, though, I do know some people working teachers in daycare, so I'll have to ask their opinions on it. Let's see what you guys have to say in that. Allshaw says, if you agree with the threat of smacking, then there's an argument for nuclear arms. I saw you have a comment earlier, and I completely ignored it, Allshaw. There's more to discipline than physical hitting. That is true, George. That is true. Discipline saved my life, says Jow. Most parents discipline their children because they love them. Some abuse their children, and there are laws to cover that system more. That's a great way of putting it. Smacking is the last resort. Yeah, smacking should be the last resort. But I don't think taking it away outright from parents is a good idea. I think it should still be there as an option for parents. A parent that does not know what abuse and discipline is, and then they should not be parents. But these laws won't solve nothing. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that, Jao. But my fear is that children, my more concern is not so much about protecting the abuse. My fear is that we make children more softer. That's my fear, and I don't like that. We're talking about naughty kids, aren't we? Not drug-dealing, knife-wielding teens, says Ben Shaw. Yeah, exactly. We sanitize our kids' worlds more, and as time goes on, yet we still wonder why their behavior is getting collectively worse. Because they don't feel discipline. Like, put me in the army, I would struggle to go in the army. Like, I'd be, like, the discipline that you have to be in the army is absolutely, like, to me, I'd be terrified. You know, but you have to have that discipline if you want to join the army, for example. Imagine if they wanted people to join the army and they wanted to reduce the discipline. Imagine that. That would be absolutely insane. I'm talking from the opposite position, says Billy. I understand. That's fine. Edgehill smacking is the last resort. Yeah, it should be a last resort. I can count the times that I gave smack my two on my hand. You very rarely do. You very rarely do. You shouldn't need to. You shouldn't need to. If you raise your kids right, you shouldn't need to lay your hands on them at all. But there are times where children do go too far. And Jolly said there, obviously, like if there's like one of the tricks that obviously I know that daycares use a lot is putting them in the corner, sitting them in the corner and right in the corner. Now is that a feasible alternative than smacking them? That's a question. I hope they take. I just hope. Here's my fault. Okay, here's my final thought. If they decide to do this, if they decide to ban it outright, okay, they must have clear guidance to parents for what alternatives they can turn to discipline their children. They need to have it very clear, the alternatives, if they can no longer physically punish them. They need to have clear guidance, clear alternatives. They need to be very clear with those alternatives. Otherwise, I will not approve of this. There has to be strong. Alternatives for them. Do they smack in the army? I would not be surprised if they do. If they don't, I would not be surprised if they don't. We deprive the kids from the things they love if they did wrong or if they did wrong or disrespected. Mark Wilkie, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. There's literally no hitting in the Finnish army, but I wouldn't categorize it as soft. To be fair, in Finland, you have a very robust, a very good, one of the best education systems in the world. And that creates good parents. And that in tune creates good kids because they're being raised by good parents. You have a much better system. One of the best systems in the world when it comes to raising kids, creating the right parents, the right environments for them. So we can't replicate. I'd love us to replicate what you guys do in Finland, but we can't. If I'm honest, I got belted at school quite frequently. Yeah, belting is an absolute no-no. There should be no belting. Absolute no-no. No, belting is a big, massive no-no. I don't care how disciplined they are. And there's your answer then, Regally. Educate the parents debate. Some MPs should be smack, says Stephen Moore. If you want to discipline children, then don't ignore them by. If you want disruptive children, then don't ignore them by shoving in front of devices, etc. Yeah. Kids need boundaries. Yeah, kids do need boundaries. 100%, Bernie. 100%. My own parents were dangerously ignorant, says number 3. Yeah, it's difficult. It's tough. Also, I do not believe there is a uniform solution to this. Different kids react in different ways, different methods, and If there are alternatives, then it will work. But I hope they take their time with this one and don't rush this through because of bad apples. I hope they take their time with this decision. That's something they need to do. We need to learn from other countries. There's too much. Yeah. We need to take ideas from other countries. Yeah, on it. That's for sure. Tells you any smacking of a child is because the adult cannot control their emotions and anger. It doesn't toughen you up. It only does damage both child and the parent. There is an incident I once had as a child with my parents that I will never share. That was pretty strong. I also had a gym shoe thrown at me by a primary school teacher. That primary school teacher was not a proper, was a bit of a nutter then. From that. Right, got one last story for you guys before we wrap things up. Speaking of people who should be disciplined, or should be disciplined in some way, shape, or form, is someone who wanted to seriously hurt a lot of migrants. That's for sure. Suella Braverman sent government documents to her private email 127 times. This is from the Times. The former Home Secretary had admitted forwarding official correspondence to her private address on previous occasions, risking potential security breaches. Dave McGuinness has the perfect alternative, guys. Clearly, alternative phone, Davey. I'll stick them on the naughty steps, says Dave McGuinness. Thank you so much for the £5 super chat. Yes, the naughty step. The naughty step. I guess maybe we should try to push away from it in the end, I suppose. I'm glad I had this discussion with you guys rather than did a separate video, I think. Yeah, I think if as long as we can still discipline the child without the means of actually physically harming the child. But yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, as long as clear alternatives for parents are there, then we'll see. But it is a tough one for sure, guys. But yeah, speaking of someone who never got disciplined as a child, was Suella Braverman here, who clearly thinks that it's okay for her to use her private email and take and not use proper government ones, who can take the absolute mick. Why is this woman still an MP? Suella Braverman forwarded government documents to her private email account at least 127 occasions while serving as a minister in the potential breach of the ministerial code. Potential breach, the Times says there. The Conservative former Home Secretary was sacked by Rishi Sunak in November last year after comments she made in the column for the Times condemning pro-Palestine protests as hate marches and accused the Metropolitan Police as playing favourites. Yeah, she's pretty vile to remind people. She was previously forced to resign from Liz Truss cabinet in October 22 when she was found to have breached security provisions of the ministerial code by forwarding a draft ministerial statement from her personal email address to Sir John Hayes, a Tory MP also on the right of the party. In her resignation last year, she acknowledged the security breach, saying, "I've made a mistake, I accept responsibility, I resign." She later admitted forwarding official correspondence to her private email account on 6 further occasions after being reappointed Home Secretary by Sunak. A Freedom of Information request submitted by the Times has now revealed that she was forwarding such correspondence routinely while serving as the government's top legal officer between 2021 and 2022. The 129 emails had at least 290 documents attached. But, she thinks it's all right to do. Ministers are banned from sharing sensitive emails and documents about government businesses with their private accounts because weak security provisions put them at greater risk of unauthorized access. Do you think Suella Braverman ever got any discipline when she was younger? I'm going to go on a limb and say no. It is not known whether Braverman forwards sensitive or official documents to her personal account. Oh. Sensitive information. That's really comforting, isn't it? The Attorney General's Office, AGO, did not respond to a request for comment. I'm not surprised. After an 18-month transparency battle, a tribunal judge forced the AGO to disclose details of Braverman's use of private email accounts while in government. So I'm trying not to sneeze. I don't want to sneeze while I'm on live streaming. Judge Simon Hurd ruled that it appears to us that the AGO initially went about finding private email accounts detailed in the coercive way, which was not a sensible way to start. He was not satisfied that the AGO had provided the necessary evidence that the cost of responding to the request would exceed the financial limits as provided by the FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act, and ordered the information to be released. The use of private emails is contagious because it makes obtaining records under the Freedom of Information Act far harder, weakening the public's right to information regarding government activities. It could make ministers less accountable for their decision making and prevents the retention of detailed record of decision making, reviewed and contested or failed government policies harder. It would have been nice if this. Imagine if she was in the leadership contest and this came out. Nothing would have changed, by the way. In 2022, the Information Commissioner Office found the Department of Health to be in breach of the Data Protection Act over ministerial use of private email because it could not guarantee the security of the records. Under the Ministerial Code, ministers are required to secure collective agreement prior to the publication of any paper containing a major statement or government policy. Braverman breached this by sharing the document related to immigration policy with Hayes. The Home Office emails were recently hacked by Russia, records reported, after a compromise by Microsoft Systems demonstrating the appetite to attack the department's IT infrastructure. Yeah, but, you know, they don't want to do anything about Russian interference, do they? The Conservatives, they did nothing. Kieran Martin, head of the National Cybersecurity Centre, said there is at least one president of Russia hacking politicians' private emails to obtain politically sensitive material as they avoid themselves to an attempt to stoke discord. As happened to Liam Fox, with a dossier of trade documents leaked and amplified during the 2019 election. So it's entirely plausible. It's plausible that her private emails may potentially have been hacked, potentially. Because it's possible that they could hack them without them even having knowledge of it as well. Therefore, while high-level security material at the Home Office would be held on a separate system, forwarding emails outside the government network would give rise to clear vulnerability. Moreover, a civil servant found to be doing this systematically would expect to face consequences lasting more than 6 days. Braverman did not respond to a request for comment. The Home Office did not respond to a request for comment on whether Braverman had forwarded documents to a private email while in post. The Cabinet Office, which sets the guidelines on official use of private emails, declined to comment. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Labour could possibly say now, and what could Braverman possibly say on this now, but that's how much she used of private. 127 times. Was it 290 documents at least? At least 290 documents attached. Government ones, guys. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. I'd like to think that we will never see her in government or ever see her in a position of Home Office or, God forbid, Prime Minister. But as long as she is an MP, there is always that possibility. You cannot rule it out. And just because she's not in the race now doesn't mean she won't try to get in the race in the future as well. Like, she could be somebody, like, if they do the whole Boris Johnson comeback thing, she might try and tie herself, align herself with Boris Johnson potentially there as well. So don't be surprised at all if we hear from her again. She's not going away, and neither is Boris Johnson. I'd like Liz Truss to go away, but Tufton Street won't stop using her. Racism takes many forms. I'm not even blonde, says Jow. What's that all about? This is partly why I agree with Regan's position. What's that? Social services overreaction also makes me distrust them as an institution, despite the fact that I know what their importance is. Well, how they have treated people speaks a lot of volumes as well, doesn't it? To be fair. Me and my siblings got... this is one angry pagan. Me and my siblings got taken off me and mum as kids because my mum smacked my sister's bum. Completely overblown reaction and damaged my family for years afterwards. It's a really emotive subject. Yeah, it was. It is. I'm sorry about that one, angry pagan. Our political system is totally shite, says number 3. Yeah, it is. What discipline should be for a kid just being violent to another kid? Yeah, that's another question as well. Every situation is different. How in the world is a potential breach? How in the world is that a potential breach of the ministerial cows? Jolly. Yeah, exactly. Like if that was in Finland, if that was in Portugal, if that was in France, there would have been reaction to it. There would have been a reaction to it, proper reaction. Sacked by Liz Truss, then resigned by Sunak a week later. So much for integrity. Yeah, she's got no integrity. I hear martial arts are a good way for kids to learn control and self-discipline. Martial arts is a very good thing because it teaches you discipline. But some kids might not be into it, so you kind of need to push them into it, I'm afraid, as well. Bernie Burrows said, my daughter grew up with learning problems and I was advised to get a social worker. I never did it. I'm sorry, they had learning problems. I know a relative of mine, I've shared this before with some people, a relative of mine has a daughter and she has very bad speaking disability. And she's not getting enough support, shall we say, for her speaking disability. The mum is trying as best as she possibly can. We're sharing a lot of private stuff here, folks. Respect. Yeah, it's sometimes it's good to talk about these things. Like, it can be hard. And besides, this live chat doesn't appear there. Well, for some reason, live chats don't appear again after live streams for some reason. When I come back to it later for the timestamps. I have no issue with belly cushion, no names are mentioned. I think it's important. It's like Thatcher and a highly legal abuse of the police against the striking miners. Yeah. This country is barely woke. Never mind woke, says number 3. Indeed, guys. So just before we go, guys, I've got one more final video for you guys before we wrap things up. Before we see ourselves out there. I wanted to share with you this. This is a digitally alternative with satire intent. This video you're about to hear. This is not the real Greta Thunberg. This is an alternative voice for Greta Thunberg. You'll tell just by what she says here. Some of you may or may not have heard this, but I hope you guys find this funny anyway, for sure. But I'll see what you guys think. Yeah, what she says here in a moment.
War is always bad, specifically for the planet. If we want to continue fighting battles like environmentally conscious humans, we must make the change to sustainable tanks and weaponry. There are so many new concepts for battery-powered fighter jets that can carry many more missiles, biodegradable missiles, of course. Something literally everybody can do to stop this nonsense is, for example, block the roads to gardens and farms so the plants don't get overrun by these heavy, heavy tanks. Hand grenades, very important. If you use hand grenades, please use vegan grenades. No animal should have to give their life for all this mayhem and chaos. They have a special sticker on them. You really can't miss them in the grenade market or wherever you buy them. Yeah, I cover all of this and more in my newest book, Vegan Wars.
I ordered Willy magazine.
Bit of a weird one, but yes. An alternative voice for Greta Thunberg there. Yeah, that was a vegan hand grenades. Oh dear, I know it feels weird hearing that from. Oh, that was very weird. That was very, very weird, guys. I know. Greta already wigs me out. This is just wrong. You've never heard of vegan grenades? Well, now you have. No one's REGANELITE. That daughter made me a granny again, which is a wee great mum. Oh, that's lovely to hear, Bernie. That's lovely to hear. Just no, says some says 55. What's wrong with vegan grenades? They might explode lots of nature. Oh, I know, guys. I'm sure I'm going too far, guys. I'm going too far. Anyway, before we go, we need to see how the gang's doing. It's been a while since we've seen them. Ollie's been grumpy. Why are you grumpy? We've had some very generous donations. It was very, very generous donations today. From Alistair Keir as well. And believe it or not, guys, something dramatic has happened. Cash Dummy has pushed Pingu to the front. Absolutely outrageous. Pingu has been pushed aside now, and Cash Dummy has been put to the front. Absolutely incredible, guys. You will not believe it. I cannot believe this. And, actually, you know what? Speaking of Cookie Monsters, guys, I saw this amazing, funny story. Lee Korn posted this on the Discord. If you haven't seen this, I'm going to actually get it up for you guys. About a Cookie Monster. It was this legit story about the Cookie Monster.
Police in Germany.
Hold on, let me make sure I get this up for you guys. I can't believe I'm about to share this with you guys, but apparently this is it's only 22 seconds, so I'll quickly show you this. So speaking of the Cookie Monster.
Police in Germany admit this photo looks funny, but they still want to know who he or she is. Someone dressed as Cookie Monster behind the wheel of a speeding car that was caught by a speed camera. Police also not laughing at the costume, saying that it is restricting the driver's field of vision.
Watch.
Yes, Cookie Monster is on the run in Dortmund in Germany. So yeah, I know. Ooh, that's pretty big, guys. Pretty big story there. So yeah, the Cookie Monster is apparently on the run in there. Is he related? He must be related. Must be related, guys. Right, so just before I go, quickly, guys, reminder, I'll be back tomorrow with the Snowflakes Corner. Not at 1 p.m, guys. I'm going to be at 7 p.m. for you guys. So we'll give ourselves a good hour and a half covering news from outside the UK. So if you guys want to join me for that before we go into Max's live stream, you're more than welcome to do so. Yeah, I did been doing the 1 p.m. thing, and you know what? I think it's best to stick to the evenings on that. And then tomorrow, I'm probably not going to do Prime Minister's questions, given that it is Deputy Prime Minister's questions. I don't think it's worth me covering, guys. But I will do Snowflake Watch at 8 p.m, so do join me for that. There is no Snowflake Talks this week, guys, as I said in the post. But I do have the Snowflake Conflicts will be on Thursday night. Now, will I do something on Friday night? I don't know as of right now. I don't have anything planned. I may just keep it as a free day off sort of thing, just to do normal content. But we've got plenty of stuff to talk about, plenty of content to cover as well, guys. I will try and get a World's News Round at least done for Sunday at least this time. I hopefully should be able to as well. So thank you guys all for coming. Thank you guys for all your comments. And yes, I do need to get the Snowflake Roundtable set up for next month as well, because I need to start speaking to YouTubers to get them on board for it as well. That is on my list of jobs to do. So hopefully I'll get I'll start arranging that at some point. But yes, and a reminder that next week, obviously, next week, Wednesday, the 30th, will be the budget. That'll be a big live stream. It'll be a long live stream, because obviously it'll be covering Prime Minister's questions and then going straight into the budget. It's going to be a long one there, that one is, guys. So do join me for that if you guys want to stomach yourselves going through the budget for that as well. So yeah, thank you, Alistair Keir, for the super chats. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Dane McGuinness, for the super chats, and Alistair Keir for the gifted memberships. Thank you guys for all your comments, are greatly appreciated. I will see you guys. Hopefully I'll be on tomorrow morning on Dave McGuinness's paper review at 10:30. If not, then hopefully I'll catch you guys on a live stream tomorrow evening. If I don't catch you there, hopefully I'll catch you on lurking on Max's live stream at 8:30. But yeah, take care, guys. Have a great week as always. But just before I go, I just have one final thing to say. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. Be greatly appreciated. Share it across social media so others are notified of this live stream. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. Help me get to that 2,000 mark. It would be greatly appreciated. And if you want to go one step further and financially support me and the work that I do here, you could do so by becoming a YouTube member for just 99p. Or you can join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.